Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's April 5th, 2015. This week we're going to run through a lesson covering the psychology of great improvising. And this week's question was sent in from Stephen. He's out in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He wrote in with this email: I'm having no luck improvising, and I'm starting to feel that I'm doing something wrong in how I'm thinking about it. What I was hoping for is something more of a philosophy video covering some ways of thinking that might help me. I get too uptight when I need to solo, and I think I'm overanalyzing things. Any help here would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Andrew, from Stephen in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Well, thanks for writing in, Stephen. I've taught hundreds of guitar players how to improvise, and there are certainly a number of psychological considerations that I've noticed over all the years. Some players will lack confidence. Some are too analytical. Some guitarists just cannot relax enough, and others can't seem to find a good level of maintained confidence to see them through a set of chord changes, causing almost a self-fulfilling prophecy of bad note choices and sloppy phrasing. So in this video, I'd like to cover a number of the top reasons why guitar players can't seem to improve with their guitar solos. Well, for my first improvising philosophy, I wanted to focus on one of the most important concepts that we have as musicians chasing, after a great performance, and that is staying very relaxed. Great improvisers are able to maintain a very relaxed feel as they play music, with their minds always on the melody and what they're going to do next physically and technically, without any kind of wandering in their mental state. So you want to keep your mind on a really good level. You want to stay happy, in a good mood, balanced, keep a good perspective. Great example of this is probably Eddie Van Halen. You ever notice him when he's playing a lead or even just jamming? He's always got a smile on his face. That encouraging idea, maybe saying encouraging things to yourself and focusing on just having fun through the process of playing lead guitar is just crucial. So I want you to try this right now by keeping your mind in this type of focus and just play across a melody that I've created here in E minor. The chord changes in the background are really straightforward. It's just E minor to D, then into C, and then the C chord brings us back around again into the D, and we come to the top of the progression again. It's a 4-bar progression, and the melody is really straightforward as well. It starts off with a pickup note idea, comes up the neck a bit, into the 12th fret. We resolve into an E. Then we have sort of a walk down through the scale tones here. And that's targeting into that D note, so it's really strong tone on that D chord right there. And then when the C chord comes in, we're going to surround that C a little bit there. And then just move it up with a couple of double stops there. That's the top end of the C chord to the D chord. So it's a really tight sounding progression of the melody. And I'm just going to fire up the loop pedal, get the changes going in the background a little bit, and then I'll come in with the melody part. When you've learned this and you're ready to start playing it as well, this really isn't an improvising thing. I know it's more of a pre-learned line concept, but what I just really want you to try and do is just keep on a good, happy, balanced, good perspective level, and keep your mind focused on that, and you're going to see a little bit of a difference in your playing. So here we go. I'm just going to play it down here. Here's the chord changes first. The next important psychological trait of really good improvisers is that they tend to act quickly and they rely strongly upon their intuition. This is literally the exact opposite of what a poor improviser would do. Guitarists who always play into phrases with poor timing, who have maybe far too many stumbles across wrong scale tones, tend to be the type who are overanalyzing their playing. This causes the guitarist to have a very bad reaction time, and actually begins to build what could only be described as a series of a sense of fear going on in their improvisations. It's a sense of doom or a series of thoughts that are very poor to what they're going to be doing. It's almost like the gloom and doom thing just piles up on their thoughts, and they tend to play very poorly. So they'll spend so much conscious effort thinking that they could have accomplished all kinds of better licks and techniques that they actually become afraid to act a lot of times. There might be some line that they learned in a rehearsal and they're just too afraid to play it on stage or something, So what I'm going to get you to do is keep this idea intact of really having a quick to react time, a good strong intuition idea. Keep that at the forefront, as well as having a real clear mind and good reaction time. And I'm going to get you to jam out right now over top of a set of chord changes here in the key of E minor. It's basically those same changes that we had from the last study, and I'm just going to get you to try and act quickly with your melodies. Stay away from being overly analytical about what you're doing. Just play from your heart and jam out over this set of chord changes. So I have a loop ready to go with some drums on it and everything, and I'll fire that up, and we're just gonna jam on this right now. Just grab some E minor scales and do your best. Well, the next ideas I want to cover are going to involve purely psychological principles. And the first one is that great improvisers, at least all of them that I've met in my life, will all tend to be very confident. They have a fantastic attitude, and above all else, they're absolutely convinced that their guitar soloing future is going to be bright. They don't think that they are some kind of gift from above when it comes to guitar playing or anything. They just have a real confidence that they'll be able to pull it off. Now, oddly enough, this will tend to lead them into having smooth and well-connected guitar solos time and time again. It's almost like their attitude for believing that things will go well actually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, poor improvisers tend to believe that they're going to rip out a bad solo and it's not going to work out. I hope I don't screw it up, all this kind of talk. Basically, it's the way that they communicate with themselves, and instead of believing that they're going to work out okay with what they're going to perform, they just believe that they're probably going to fail, and it makes people that are poor improvisers like that kind of hesitant and uncertain, and their playing becomes choppy. It's almost as if they've given up even before they've begun. Well, the final idea I wanted to share on the whole topic here is that it's really important that you take a close look at good improvisers that you meet and pay attention to what their overall personality is like. I guarantee you that they're going to be in most cases, almost 90–95% of the cases, they're going to be very resilient types of people. They always keep going. They keep playing no matter what might happen, whatever they may even think about their playing and their melodies, how they feel about their technique, and maybe how they just used a certain type of an idea. Nothing bothers them. They just keep going. They keep plowing along, and it doesn't really matter even what happens with their gear. That's a place where sometimes you have very little control. Maybe you go to a certain venue and you just can't get a very good tone. That's happened many times to me where I can be in one venue, I sound great, I really am happy with the way everything's going, go to another venue at another gig at one point in time, and I just can't seem to get a good sound out of my gear. It can be very frustrating, but then again, you can't let it get you down. You got to just keep going, keep continuing no matter what. That idea of keeping your attitude up at a higher level is super, super important, because it'll keep you moving along even in the worst situations. And you kind of learn from your mistakes as you go, and you take everything with a grain of salt. Now, unfortunately, poor improvisers will get dragged down by the slightest of problems and seem to blame themselves, sometimes even blame other people when something may not even be their fault, may not be anyone's fault. It may be completely outside of their control. But you want to stay away from that kind of attitude, keep that resilience up, and keep the idea going where it doesn't matter what happens. Whatever does occur, you're going to make it okay. Well, one of the last pieces of information I think is very important to walk away with here is that even if you don't possess any of the traits of a great improviser, there's still some hope for you. It's never too late to change your attitude and your beliefs. And in this video, we've learned a number of those core principles of the behaviors of a great improviser. And it's possible for you to just begin adopting them as well. Improvising will require a lot of foundational skills and knowledge on a fingerboard and just music theory principles. But after the mechanics are all there and the music theory is there, the rest is purely psychological. There's no real magic, and it's not luck either. So keep in mind that these principles are very important. You have to adopt them if you want to go further and further with your playing. And next time you go for a solo, try to have them, or some of them, as a part of your attitude and your belief system, because I know taking that on is going to make a difference for you. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. As always, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now. The Music Reading Phase 1 ebook has over 30 pages of comprehensive project lessons covering the entire fifth reading position on the guitar. Music reading charts and drills will work to help students memorize the placement of the fifth position notes, including important sharp and flat tones. Several original and classic pieces of sheet music will help students to gain a solid understanding for this region of the neck. Rhythm studies, duration examples, plus song and location drills along with 19 MP3 audio tracks makes this one of the best music reading courses available online. Music Reading Phase 1 is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.